All right, what's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome to the Reckless Imagination Podcast, Episode 1. I am one of your hosts, Captain Kirk, aka Cap, and I have my other host with me.
What is
Introduce yourself,
happening?
brother.
My name is Sean, aka Sean the Dawn. I'm so happy to be here with you all. Let's get it cracking with some blurred shit.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're getting active. This is the first episode. Please like, share, comment, let us know what you're thinking, and let's get this thing rolling. So, first and foremost, we are going into Lanterns, episode 1, that debuted last Sunday. We got episode 1 starting off with a hell of a mystery throughout the whole continuation of from point A to B, essentially.
For
We
sure,
get to meet
yeah.
John Stewart in a very. We good. We have John Stewart meeting at an early age with his father, essentially teaching him how to be a Green Lantern from a toddler almost.
hmm
And we meet Hal Jordan, the guy that we know in the comics is a bit of a cocky guy, but he's washed up and he is essentially the drunk uncle you don't want at the cookout.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
as that being our early premise, like what were your feelings going into all of this? Because this is kind of crazy.
It is crazy. I think that it's wild the way that they set it up that his dad already knew like what John was going to end up being and was preparing him for that from the time he was a child. So it kind of puts into my head like what did his dad know? Like what all did was his dad aware of? Because even when he walks in the house at first and he's like, "Oh, so what's his name?" You know, he already knew
Yeah,
that how that John would be locked in on it. So I think that that's pretty interesting. And then the personality that they gave Hal Jordan is perfect to me. I think it's
yeah,
perfect. I think it's well acted. I think that the guy that's portraying him is doing an amazing job. He really is that uncle that, oh boy, you don't know how to swim and throws you into a pond and makes you figure it out. That's yeah, 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 which happened to me.
he all right. Ain't no bubbles. Ain't no
Yeah.
bubbles. He all right.
He all right, he all right. And then, you stop fighting, he's like, hey, all right, now go get him. But yeah, I think that their whole dynamic is really, really interesting and exciting to see on screen play out. I think that they're doing an amazing job, at least in the first episode.
Definitely. I definitely agree. I wasn't exactly expecting to even be as connected as I was to their dynamic so early on, just because of the differences between them. And with Hal still being portrayed in a way that still feels like genuine Hal,
hmm
I thought it would be more like a Riggs and Murtaugh kind of like Lethal Weapon situation, which it kind of
hmm
has hints to, but it's kind of like having literally that uncle is like everybody knows he's an alcoholic, but he always gives us $50 before he leaves.
Yeah,
Like, you
yeah,
know,
yeah. hmm
and even with that being the dynamic, the amount of respect John still shows him, and I think that's just out of the fact of not even him being the hero that he's, portrayed to be over time, as we see throughout the beginning of this first episode, but what the nature of being a Green Lantern and having that ring means.
hmm
I think it really shows that John has respect for the job, and I think that's an
Yeah.
interesting take to have, given that
hmm
we're dealing with, funny enough, police. Got 12
hmm
on here, Green Intergalactic 12, and a black man wanting to step into that position to bring it honor or do honor to it is kind of turning it on his head a little bit that I don't really think that I was expecting, but that adds to their dynamic of allowing that respect to be constant throughout, even when John has moments, as we see later on, like in the bar scene, where he's like, okay, I'm about to go get beat up by these guys so I can get interrogated by the person we meet later on. Early on the football field, I believe, during the initial mystery, which is somebody might be an alien and murdered 4 people.
hmm
The fact that John was willing to allow him to get beat up and be like, okay, I still got his back is kind of unique.
I think the other thing that I really like about Hal is he might come off as being like inept and not intelligent and foolhardy, but he's not wrong. He hasn't been wrong once. The things that he said, he's like, when he was on the scene, he already had a full scope and containment of the scene. He already knew what was going on at the football field. He already had a plan of how he was going to do whatever he needed to do when he got to the bar. He already knew that oh boy wasn't human and how to get him to confess that he wasn't human. He's eccentric, but the way that he goes about his stuff, he's not wrong. He always has the knowledge. It's just the way that he goes about it that John doesn't see. And really, one part of the first episode that I found interesting, and I don't know if you would have found it interesting too, but when he has the car drive off the side of a cliff and
Yeah.
he leaves him in there to do that, and when he finally shows back up at the taco joint, and he's like, "Oh, so what did you use? What did you use to stop yourself? What did you use to protect yourself?" And he was just like, "Well, bubble wrap." Like it's the most
Right.
practical thing. Like it was the most practical thing he could think of to use. Whereas Hal probably would have used like a giant fist or a big metal block container. And I
Or
think his
like
whole
a baseball glove or something.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it's like he's trying to get John to think outside of the box and be creative instead of being so straightforward with everything. His big thing I think he's trying to show him is that yes, it's good to like have structure and thought processes and be a straight arrow and all that other kind of stuff, but sometimes you need to throw a little razzle dazzle in there to really really figure things out. So he lets
Yeah.
John do the hard thing, like chase the dude through the school and, have to walk all that distance, even though he had the ring. He could have figured out a way to get him to the place without walking. You know, he did all that. He's just trying to get him like, you don't have to do everything the hard way all the time.
Yeah. The fact that you put it like that, I really didn't take time to think of it in that particular sense because
Hmm.
I was so caught up on like what happened to how to have him so weary in his approach. But now that I'm thinking about the lessons within the lesson, it is showing him that you can be structured, but you don't have to be rigid.
Yes.
And looking at who trained Hal, being Sinestro, who we'll meet in some episode in the future,
Hmm.
he's taken some of that in his into his own, I guess time as the Green Lantern, because you got to think how when we meet him as a younger projection of his consciousness 10 years prior is a lot more chipper, a lot more like,
Yeah.
well, why wouldn't I tell you this? Why wouldn't I just send the third? And the how we meet now is nothing like that. So how much of what he's learned and been through with Sinestro in his own time with that ring has shown him to be like, listen, you don't always have to just be straight and narrow. Sometimes the best way around something is through it.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that's creativity in its own way. But I think John is so particular as an architect as it is, and a marine sniper. Like he
Marine
has a
sniper.
mind of a visionary, but it's very particular. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So
Hmm.
that's cool, but I do think that is a good lesson he needs to learn.
For sure.
One other thing that I'm gonna get into for our 1 hour topics is like what actually worked for you the most in this first episode.
I think the really hooking thing for me is how his personality, why he's the way he is. I think the mystery also how they set it up was it's intriguing. They didn't give us hardly anything. Hardly anything. None of the characters went to a huge exposition dump. None of them were just telling you exactly what's going on. We still have no idea. And then they left us with another mystery at the end that we're going to have to work through. So I think how he's acted and his dynamic with John and the mystery both have worked beautifully for me. I really, really, really love the way that they did that. What about you?
I definitely can agree. For me, I think the thing that really did it for me, truthfully, was the world building. It
Mm,
wasn't even so much the characters of Hal and John, because I had a sense just based on the actors they picked with Aaron Pierre as John Stewart, excuse me, and Kyle Chandler as Hal Jordan, based on their individual work leading into them being cast together, I was like, okay, yeah, I think with having Chris Mundy and a lot of these other guys that are writers within the comic universe or DC being a part of that to put that team together, I was like, okay, I'll be good. But when we got to the episode and there was so much, just a time meeting at young Hal and being established within those first 5 minutes of the episode and building out the world of like, okay, this was what it was for the world to start seeing superheroes. And we get an idea of what it truly means to be a Green Lantern. Because when we see our first Green Lantern in Superman, Guy Gardner's a dick. Like, and
Yeah, yeah,
he's so aloof. He has principles, but he's very aloof. And then on top of that, just how casual everybody is. I don't
yeah.
think even in the MCU we've seen people react this way. Like, people are normal about heroes up and throughout New York and different places in the MCU. They're normal
Mhm,
citizens, but it feels a little bit different with the DC universe where how they act as if they're celebrities. Like, the Avengers are celebrities in the MCU.
mhm.
That's about it. Like,
That's
everybody
about
else
it.
might
Yeah,
be like local heroes, but like
yeah. The
with the
X-Men are
DC universe,
outcasts.
everybody's big. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's little pockets.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that that's really interesting. I didn't really think about that either. The way that they portray superheroes and the public's reaction to it. Yeah, those were also very, very well done. I also I I enjoyed the little nuggets that they dropped here and there
Hmm.
throughout the, like when he was doing the interview, the interrogation with the alien, and he said, "John, how many aliens can completely replicate, humankind?" And he's like, 14. And as a comic book reader, you start running through the ones that you know in your head. And like, well,
Yeah.
like, so it's like, so who, which kind are these? And is it, oh, is that an allusion to this person, or is that an allusion to this person? Are these people coming? So I think that the building outward into a greater universe without just being like, well, Superman's over there in Metropolis. They did it in a way
Yeah.
that builds intrigue and doesn't just sell you and tell you immediately what it is. You ever heard
Yeah.
of that
And
guy
it
dressed as a
wraps you
bat?
into that. Yeah, but especially in previous comic book mediums, but it's something different about being shown and not told.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And this also makes it more plausible when or if we get somebody like Martian Manhunter, it's not a surprise that there's
Yeah,
a
he was set up before.
shape-shifting alien.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And it's letting you
But
know that
even in
things
the
like
vein
that are
of saying
possible.
that, yeah, that is true. But on top of that, while we're thinking about the things that did work for us, if there is anything that didn't work for you, what, don't matter how small, like what honestly didn't work for you in the series? Because for me, the only thing I didn't like is the fact that we find out John fucked a grandma, and listen, Granny's got to get it too. But I personally did, when I heard grandma, I'm like, grandma,
Yeah.
they building grandmas like this?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Here's what I didn't like about that, right? We are led to believe that John is this rigid, straight as an arrow, doesn't bend, doesn't break, law follower, blah, 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 blah. And then he's able to get coerced into hooking up with a woman that he doesn't know, doesn't even really know her name or who she is, in the back parking lot of a bar, just because,
Bunny
like that.
hunting.
Yeah, it seems so out of his character from what they showed us, that he was just like, oh, random grandma that looks all right, okay, well, let's go to the back of this truck real quick. Crazy work, crazy work. I
True,
didn't
true.
expect that at all. It just didn't seem like it fit with who he is or who they're trying to say he is. But maybe there's more to him, and that'll build, and it's based off of his little horniness here. But who knows?
Listen, I don't know if you're a big fan of the Daredevil series, but listen,
Yeah,
Matt be sleeping with everybody. So
yeah.
I mean, if he can do it, I'm gonna let John slide this time. Now, I don't necessarily like it either because of those same reasons, but that's just like little nitpicky stuff. Other than that,
Yeah.
like I'm
There's
pretty
not a
cool
whole
with
lot
it.
that
I mean,
didn't
my
work for
man had
me.
the same, like, man, it was overall just solid.
Mm,
I do think one of my favorite moments though is figuring or seeing how Hal uncovered the alien's identity in the interrogation room by the questions he asked. Yeah, man, because at first it was like the normal stuff you would hear, like, oh, okay, well, what happened in this part of Nebraska? Who is the leading rusher here? Like, just random Google facts. And then when he bust out with the what school did Harry Potter go to? I don't read. Oh hell no. What?
Yeah. Hell no. Hell no. And I like how he used racism as well.
Yes.
To how he used racism. He's like, when he said Barack Obama, he's like, that is the only opinion that you have out of Nebraska about Barack Hussein Obama. You are absolutely an alien. I thought that was great.
That's some good writing, bro, because
That's great
you
writing.
don't necessarily think that.
Yeah,
Beautiful writing.
yeah. It was smart. It was intricate. It built the world, and we kind of know like this what happens a little bit from the stuff that we would ask somebody who isn't from here. You know,
Yeah.
who isn't from our planet. That's some questions that we would ask. You know what I'm saying?
You straight up hit that man with that. Y'all twins? Nah, we cousins. Man, listen. Like I do like the subtle undertones with racial play in within the actual show because what does it mean for a black man to want to be a cop? And not only that, like an intergalactic cop. What does that really mean? And what does it mean for your father to be so caught up in how much this organization does that he's training you, specifically you? It's none of
Mhm.
the other brothers. It's John. Since you were like yay high. Like, and just the interactions when they're in the small town and how everybody's looking at them sideways, like, yeah, it's because you a Green Lantern, but it's also because you a Negro. Like,
Mm,
it's beautiful undertones, man.
yeah, for sure, for sure. It's saying a lot. It's saying a lot without screaming it directly in our faces. If you pay attention, there's a lot there.
And I think that's going to be the strength of the whole series, just based on how the structure it is leading into the end, which, spoiler alert, at this point, if you don't want to know, we'll have a time code up. You can go further in the video, I promise. But it's literally another episode tomorrow as of recording of this video. So I'm gonna need for y'all to get on it. But the fact that we jumped 10 years in the future from 2016 to 2026, which is the primary timeline of the DC universe at this time, we find Hal Jordan in the very space and seat sat where they initially started the beginning of the episode as far as the mystery in the small town in Nebraska, dead in the snow with a bullet wound in his head and his ring
Mhm.
missing. Like that is a crazy way to set things up and allow the audience to not only be hooked on two different mysteries in two different timelines of a coinciding story, but really give us something to chew on to be like, okay, you're going to want to know why this is happening. I mean, how did that have you feeling towards the end?
It it was a whole like holy shit. What is going on? How did that? Because if you think about it more than just the scene itself, there's only so many people who can actually take off Hal's ring. There's only so many people who can actually physically remove it and it stay with them and not go flying off to whoever it chooses next, right? So it puts that nugget. And then another nugget that it puts is like, how did Hal end up in this situation? How does Hal still have the ring 10 years later? What occurs that he still has the ring at all? And does that mean that John doesn't have it still 10 years down the line? You know, sets up
Yeah.
so much for you to think of and pay attention to in the future episodes that I thought it was done really, really.
Yeah, I really do sit with a lot of the same questions because when we go into the next episode, we don't really have a solid footing for any parts of either mystery. It's
Uh-huh.
all still up in the air. There's really no rhyme or reason to anything. It's just shock and awe.
Hmm.
So, with what we got going on in 2016, it's one, why does this guy in this small town have a militia first and foremost? And why is he so invested on finding the alien more than the police, which is his daughter-in-law is police?
Hmm.
Like, or at least why is he more invested in getting them squared away than anything else? Like, that's kind of odd to me. And why is he almost enlisting the need of Hal and John to get this done? And what does this say about John's training? Like, is this going to be more of John learning what not to do or what to do?
Mm,
Because Hal is still playing this very close to the chest, man, and we really don't know where this is going to lead, but it has to be an escalation going forward.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Very, very seldom do I watch a TV show that isn't an anime specifically that I'm really completely hooked in by the first episode. And this successfully did that. So, as a first episode, I think it's an all around success.
Absolutely. Absolutely a success.
Hmm.
I'm just really excited to see where this goes next, but we'll see here in about 16 hours or so.
Yeah. So, yeah, somewhere
I
around there.
do feel like we're going to end up having even more questions and answers, but I think we're going to have some pretty cool moments coming up for sure.
They have a lot to do in 8 episodes.
Now, but the lucky thing about that is each episode is either a legit hour or like
Mm,
right under. I'm glad it's HBO doing the legit hour and not the Disney Plus bullshit where it's
yeah.
like, oh, you got an hour, but the first 10 minutes are credits and then the
Yeah.
last 10 minutes are credits. So really you got like a 45-minute episode.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah,
we're
that's
not
true.
doing that. But we got one more other topic that I really was excited to talk about with you. It was something that we talked about online for a little bit, but it was in regards to this big article coming out by Variety about
Hmm.
Yahya Abdul Mateen, who we all know from Wonder Man,
Wonder Man.
getting told. Yes, sir. Which I didn't expect to be as good as it was, but he was in an
Same.
interview and he was told during the interviewer that he didn't really have an answer for why his show was canceled and how the optics of that really kind of look a certain way and how it, from a business sense, the MCU is looking at it and like, okay, we're trying to pivot from that. And in
Mhm.
that interview, he also states like, hey, like they can't ignore how apparent it is because it's not even just with Wonder Man. We look at Blade that was announced 7 years ago and went through multiple directors, multiple script rewrites, and we couldn't even get the story right. Mind you, this is a nigga in a leather trench coat killing other vampires with shades and aura farming. Solo leveling is on TV on Crunchyroll. I'm not even gonna get it. Then we got stuff like Ironheart, which I know it had its problems in certain instances, but Riri Williams is an important block inside of the comic books, even though she doesn't always get the spotlight she needs even in there. But to set her up in Black Panther 2 and the amount of intelligence and pride and tenacity that character was able to be portrayed with, and just to squander her and pretty much sideline her show, barely promote it, along with other things like Wonder Man or even Armor Wars, which was supposed to be a movie with Rhodey and dealing with the legacy of Iron Man, scrapped
Mhm.
and reworked and rumored to be getting turned into a reboot for Iron Man for the events after Secret Wars. Or the list just goes on. And it's like, why do they think, not even why, what does that currently say about how they see their black projects? Because it seems like if it's not Black Panther, it don't matter.
So I believe fully that Black Panther ruined any future Black projects. And I mean that by this. Black people showed up in force for Black Panther. It was a cultural movement. We showed up in our Sunday's best to watch it. We brought our families. We were wearing dashikis. Everybody was throwing up the X. You
Yeah.
know, it was a movement, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I feel like they expected that type of outpouring from every single black project that they did after Black Panther. So if Wonder Man is middling, well, it wasn't what we got when we did Black Panther. If we're not all
Yeah.
clamoring and shaking and shimmying, you know, people aren't buying Blade cosplays like that, Blade figures, all that kind of stuff, the way that they're buying Black Panther figures. Well, what do we really want to deal with, do we really want to pour into this property when they don't show up for it the way that they showed up for Black Panther? Same thing with Same thing with Ironheart. It was okay. It was decent. The reception was all right, but
Yeah.
people aren't in the streets, clamoring for Riri merch, Riri shirts, you know
No.
so I feel
No.
like when it comes to needle moving, their first black centered MCU venture was so big that everything after it had to be in that space and follow it in some way, or be bigger or on the same level, and it just was not going to be that. Outside of a few black characters, I think the only people that they can really get that out of is like Miles Morales. If they did Blade really well, Blade could do it. But overall, it's just a metrics thing. They blew it out of the park so hard the first time that they need that to incentivize continuing to do it, and they're not getting that.
Yeah. They're not getting that at all. And I think that is more of a case of exactly what you're saying, is that they expect everything to be Black Panther, and that also goes to show the power of the black dollar. That
Man,
that goes to show the power of our creativity. And that's kind of sad, because even though they can mine it and still implement it, it's not really honored. Because even without larger projects, Sam Wilson's Captain America movie should have been what the Falcon and the Winter Soldier TV show was, or a combination. Not even a combination. It should have just been that. Like, it shouldn't have been a Disney Plus show. And Bob Chapek, the Disney CEO at the time, he needs to be strung up by his ankles, because everything was about producing large amounts of content, but not giving the time for creatives to do better things. So we don't get shit like Secret Invasion. But like, that aside, like, man, I understand that not every black character is gonna pop. I understand that not every black character needs to be represented in a different medium. But what the MCU is going through right now is kind of reminiscent of what people felt early on between phases like 1 to 3. I remember there were times where people were talking about, like, there's no female-led projects. There
hmm
is no, why do we not have a Black Widow film? And then we didn't get nothing until, I mean, we partially got one in Ant-Man, but like, whatever. And then we didn't get nothing until Captain Marvel. And then we got a
hmm
Black Panther, not Black Panther, but a Black Widow movie after this heifer done died. Like, what? Like, and this is in the same vein of that, where we are looking at a lot of projects that they're trying to do. Like, for instance, they're announcing Black Panther 3, and that we got a new person to play T'Challa's son that'll be older. So you're already showing, like, oh, we trying to recapture that.
they're going
But
back to the
like,
well. They're
why
going right
can't
back
we
to the
get
well.
Blade?
We tried this, it doesn't work. Okay, they don't really rock with Wonder Man. Okay, Ironheart isn't doing what we wanted to do. Let's find a T'Challa and let's do a Black Panther 3. Let's bring back Ryan Coogler.
Yeah,
Let's let people show up for Ryan Coogler for whatever he does. Let's do Ryan Coogler again. Let's just make sure we same formula. Let's just do it again because we need that black dollar. We need them to show up the way that they did for this. And maybe they'll do that if we have T'Challa back, Ryan Coogler back, and the same IP.
yeah.
I'll be honest with you. Probably the best thing that they can do for Blade is put him in Black Panther 3.
They can't,
They can't.
because I'm more than certain. I mean, they could. I know they could, but with the X-Men being the focus of Kevin Feige's mind,
Mhm.
that is almost, we already have Storm going to be in the X-Men movie. And I can't remember exactly if X-Men is coming out before or after Black Panther based on the announcement. I'll have to check
I can't
that.
remember
But
either.
if we're getting Black Panther before X-Men, you can bet your brown ass that Storm will be in Black Panther. Like that,
hmm
like, the one thing that I can imagine though is that they don't really know what to do with black projects, because Black Panther is all Ryan Coogler's baby. Kevin Feige, as much credit as he gets for allowing the opportunity for it to be made, he have, like, of course he lets every director do what they need to do to some degree, but it's all a part of a certain formula and structure. That's why a lot of the movies feel the same. Whereas Black Panther, even in the scenes that may feel that way, each movie is distinctly a Ryan Coogler film. You can feel that, you can tell that. specifically how it's shot, the dialogue, the character choices, the wardrobe, the soundtrack. Like, so I feel like Marvel doesn't know how to make a black project because they don't know what that is. Like,
Yeah,
is it just hip hop beats and cool action sequences and a couple yo dogs? Like, what the fuck? Like, no. Like, I want them to understand that you can make thought provoking content like Wonder Man, but you can also take inspiration from actors and directors like Robert Townsend, who made amazing projects like Meteor Man and The Five
hmm
Heartbeats, or even Spike
hmm
Lee or Jordan Peele. These creatives that you can tap to not even just directly those folk, but in the essence of them to make great projects with black characters. But you're squandering it. I really don't know if they know what a black project is. Like, do you believe that they can figure this out?
they can't they can't do us right without us. So until they really, really tap in to the creators that you talked about, minds that can really, really capture it, I think it's going to be difficult. You can't have James Cameron direct, Boys from the Hood 3. You can't do that. What does
No.
what does James Cameron know about that? Christopher
At
Nolan. I
all.
fucking love Christopher Nolan, but if you had Christopher Nolan direct Blade, there's going to be a part of it missing. But if you have Jordan Peele direct
Yeah.
Blade, Ryan Coogler direct Blade, you'll probably get what we're looking for out of the movie. So, like you said, it really takes with contacting and tapping in with the culture in order for you to get a response from the culture. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I
Yep.
believe that's what they're missing. I think that they're
You
they're trying to
definitely do.
machine it. Yeah, I think they're trying to machine engineer a response from us. But the thing about our culture is that it's very authentic and very recognizable. And then when we don't see us in us, we don't
We'll
support it.
let you know.
Yeah, we don't support it.
Exactly. And that's the scary part, though, man, because when we don't see authentically what we can identify as something with our spirit and honoring what we believe to be representative, it often is fallen on deaf ears or told to us that it's other reasons. Like, for instance, Captain America wasn't good because nobody wanted Sam as Cap, or it wasn't that good because Cap didn't really know how to be Captain America. We just meeting him as is. When really it's that we don't know how to properly honor this story. We don't know how to make Sam really stand out on his own. We're
Mm,
going to try to make it seem that way by adding all the things around it that we never answered or never put proper thought and time into to kind of draw you in to want to know why. But you're not there for Sam. You could care less. That's a Hulk sequel movie, as many people have said before. But even more so than that, that is cleanup duty. For all the people being like,
hmm
well, the Doomsday doesn't have any lead up. All the movies they have released have been cleanup duty. Everything,
hmm
as far as like just tidying up everything before we get to the main thing that's going to give everybody clear direction, which is Doomsday and Secret Wars. And when
Absolutely.
you throw somebody out to pasture, it kind of puts them in a tough spot, and that also leads to my worry about what they are going to do when they have to collaborate with Sony to bring Miles Morales to the MCU. They are directly hinting at that being the next thing. And I will say this don't even got to be a black project thing. Well,
It
first of
really
all,
doesn't.
first and foremost, I feel like the part about casting Miles, the main thing people are going to worry about is the Latino or Afro Latino aspect of it, but it's going to be more Latino than Afro. And that's the one thing. As much as that is a prominent part of his culture, he is still a black boy, black man, and I want that to also not be lost in his portrayal. I want both sides to be honored, and I don't know if they can do that. And
When you,
then also, I don't want them to take the success, if they do this right, as the same thing they're doing with Black Panther. Spider-Man alone already makes money. Okay.
hmm
As we can see,
as we can
$2.5
see,
billion.
yeah,
Please do
ridiculous.
not milk this to where Miles is everywhere. Like,
hmm
honor it.
hmm Yep. I think I think if I was an exec for Marvel and I was looking at needle moving, would lean towards making Miles more Latino Afro, more Latino than Afro American because Latinos have very limited representation in the
Representation.
superhero in the superhero realm. So getting the buy-in from Latinos would probably be what they were looking for with a mixed superhero like Miles Morales. But like you said, I just hope they don't lean too far in that direction for monetary reasons and forget the other side of him. But I can absolutely see that happening, and
The
it probably will happen.
Yeah, it's going. I can tell you for 1,000%, the most Negro we gonna get is the soundtrack
Hmm.
and maybe some cornrows or
Oh
some
yeah,
curly
that's
hair.
that soundtrack gonna be black as hell. Black as
Oh
hell.
boy, Metro Boomin on
They
the
gonna
track.
have Quavo. Oh yeah, Metro Boomin. They gonna have Quavo. They gonna have they gonna have fucking Dave Chappelle on the intros. Yeah, it's gonna be as black as they could possibly make it.
Now, mind you, I ain't mad at that,
I'm not mad at it at all.
but
I
well,
hope it's as black. I hope it is as black as possible.
but we just saying like there's more to it than that, and I feel like there's a complexity and depth to being an Afro Latino that is not represented really at all anywhere in media. Period.
Hmm.
That's a different challenge within itself, just based on cultural conflict.
Yeah.
But we'll see. One of the things that I've been excited to talk to you about as a fellow Kingdom Hearts fan, not only did we get the announcement of Kingdom Hearts 4, but we literally got an announcement of the Kingdom Hearts anime. And there is not a whole lot of information about it out there based on the actual, I guess, press release. It's just simply being in production. I'm believing it's supposed to come later next year, if I'm not mistaken. Me, I've only played the mainline games and a couple other ones like 358 by 2 days and things like that. I haven't gotten as far into the weeds like the Game Boy Advance game or whatever. So that might be your bag. But I mean, how you feeling
Yeah.
about all this information with Kingdom Hearts?
I played every Kingdom Hearts game to complete. I played them multiple times. I played them on every system. I played Birth by Sleep. I played Shattered Memories. I even played Coded. I played Recoded. I played the final mix of each. I even played the orchestra one that came out after three. That was weird. I've played every Kingdom Hearts game except the mobile ones. I couldn't bring myself to get
Man.
through the mobile ones. And here's what I think. I think that for Hearts 4, the mobile games are going to be where most of the lore that we're going through in Kingdom Hearts 4 is going to be from. So I need to sit down and watch a 2 to 3 hour video about that at some point because I'm not going to play them. Not playing
Oh no.
them. No, not doing it. Now, the anime, from what I've heard, it is an original story. So it does not involve Sora, Donald, and Goofy. Follows an original
Okay.
character through their own journey, which I is kind of refreshing because having
Mhm.
something happen within the Kingdom Hearts world that isn't directly tied to Sora and his nobodies and Heartless and
Yeah.
shells and all that stuff, it's refreshing that you don't have to know everything before going into it. You can just kind of freshly enjoy a new Kingdom Hearts IP without needing to know an encyclopedia's worth of knowledge beforehand. I think that that's really really good and really really smart, especially if they're trying to get people into the series.
Yeah, absolutely. Because as many people know, whether you're a casual Kingdom Hearts fan or you're a diehard, like the lore of Kingdom Hearts is immense, and it is as beautiful as it is. You'd be lying if you didn't say it was somewhat confusing, if not completely
Mm-hmm.
confusing,
Mm-hmm.
because there are so many characters that look like characters and so many characters that are not the characters that they look like, and that's the
Yeah.
easiest way I'm gonna explain that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
to kind of pivot and start fresh leans for a lot of creative ideas. And honestly, I hope they take the opportunity to use this anime to bring in more Final Fantasy characters that we've been missing from the games,
Yeah.
especially three, where they
Mm-hmm.
seem like they have just miraculously disappeared. Or if we're not going to use Final Fantasy characters that we've already met, let's use Noctis from Final Fantasy, I believe it was verse 7.
Yeah.
Clive?
Yeah.
Listen. Clive a little too
Clive from
OP for Kingdom Hearts.
I want him. I want him. I want him. I want him. Bring him in.
Bro, what? Hey, for
I
y'all who don't know who Clive is, I'm gonna put something up on the screen. Don't worry, you gonna understand. Nah, man. What Clive? That is Game of Thrones level violence.
I don't care. I want to see Clive. I want to see Clive pin Maleficent to a tree and set it on fire. I want to see it. 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 I want to see him
Now,
decapitate Winnie the
mind
Pooh.
you, I'm not against it. Hey, listen. Leave my pantsless brother alone. My boy
Okay.
be chilling.
All right. You're
He
right.
been
A
in
little too
that
far.
book for 8 games.
You're right. I'm sorry. I got a little excited. Well, my bad.
Man, but not gonna lie, it would be nice to see different iterations of Final Fantasy characters that they interact with. But I
Mm,
wonder, with this being an original story, is the structure going to be the same as we meet X character in place he does not feel at home at? X player
mm,
goes through keyhole and is chosen as chosen one,
mm.
goes with compatriots on adventure, or is this solely going to be one character and this happening prior to the games, or especially because if it's original, I know in some way they have to keep implementing the same lore. I'm just interested to see exactly how they tackle it, and I just hope the character does not have a design of Roxas or
Or
Sora in
Sora.
any way. Like
Yeah.
let's get away from that.
Yeah. Make him look different, please. So we don't have to wonder, is this like, it's Sora's dad? Like, oh my God.
Hell no. As far as I'm concerned, Sora is a Section 8 baby. My boy was
Sora
homeless
was made in a
on
test
a
tube.
beach. Boy, oh my dad. My dad. Honestly, while you playing,
I mean, it might be. That might be actually be. He was a child born of the light or some shit. Who knows?
that's how like somebody don't know somebody daddy or mama. That's what they left you. And that's like, yeah, the stork dropped you off.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly what that is.
Your mama name is Tisha, and she went to the same high school as me. I know who dropped you off that night because I was outside. Well, I'm not going for it. I'm not going for it.
Man, but
But
I
nonetheless,
hope
I
it
hope it's
comes
something
through.
cool.
Yeah, I hope it comes through and it's really entertaining and they do it well because people love Kingdom Hearts. If you've seen anything over the couple weeks after that announcement was made, people absolutely, absolutely love Kingdom Hearts, and they love it. Kingdom Hearts is like Kingdom Hearts is like a distant lover that if she lived near you, y'all would be married by now. But she only gets to come
Ooh,
around
that's a bar.
if she wants to come around every now and then. You can only see her here and there. So you gotta act like you don't love her as much as you do. But then when she comes
Yeah.
around, you're like, oh, you're the only one. You're the only one I've ever loved. And just geez, like you're so perfect and wonderful, and I love you so much. But but you know that if you fall in love with it too hard, once it goes away again, it's just gonna hurt you. So you got to control yourself.
Yep.
That's exactly how Kingdom Hearts is. We all love it so much, but we forget how much we love it until it comes back around again.
Why you bullshitting? This sounds like an abusive relationship.
It is. Is it not? Is it not? Niggas will show you a trailer for a game that doesn't come out for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. The first trailer we got for
Why
Kingdom
you
Hearts
playing?
4 was like 6 years ago.
Damn, it's been that long.
I played Kingdom Hearts 1
Eh,
when I wasn't even reading well. I played Kingdom Hearts 2 in high school. I played Kingdom Hearts 3 as a grown ass
Me
adult living
too.
in a different state with a child.
That is me too. Oh my god! Listen, why you playing? Yeah, they got to tighten this up. That is
Like it
crazy.
is
I
abusive.
remember being a kid in high school feeling like this.
Man. So yes, it is an abusive
You ain't had
relationship.
to
It
cut
is.
so deep. You ain't had to cut that deep.
No, no, no,
My
nah, forget
therapist will
that. I
be
need you to
my
know. I need
invoice
you to
for
know
my
what I've gone through.
therapist. Hell no, keep that struggle to yourself, brother. You done carbon dated the shit out me.
I
Oh
apologize for my
yeah,
outburst.
it be your own people, boy. I tell you. I tell you. But as far as the overall series, it being a successful anime, like I do wonder what that means for the series because Anime as a whole, since the great shift, as we all know, in making it more mainstream, has essentially consumed the cultural zeitgeist. The most average person knows about some form of anime, even past Dragon Ball at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And Kingdom Hearts, with the amount of love, like even you spoke about online that we saw, it is a fervor for it. And it may seem niche because we have gameplay and certain stories that are aside that manga and gamers love. But what would actually happen for it to truly be successful? Does this start bringing in Kingdom Hearts to go past what it was originally intended to be? Because honestly, I don't even know if Kingdom Hearts 4 is going to start a new trilogy. And if it does, can we stop at that? Or is the success of the anime going to keep pushing this on till we milk the cow dry?
I believe that Kingdom Hearts has the potential to go the way that One Piece is starting to go down. I don't think we get it enough for it to be oversaturated yet. But if we start, I feel like having an anime or having a manga or whatever is just going to be ways for them to bridge how long it takes for them to make the games. One Piece, I love One Piece to death, but One Piece is, they're doing entirely too much with it to death. So I feel like it has the potential to go that way if they keep doing it, but we don't get it enough to get sick of it. So, you know.
True. I think the story for One Piece is spread out enough. As somebody who needs, now full transparency, I have not even been on current One Piece, which that's a whole separate story for a different pod. But
Hmm.
the amount of love and fervor for it in the story, I understand, in the way that they spread it out, even though it doesn't oversaturate it and not necessarily overstay its welcome, allows for that to still be a rich story that you want to continue to invest in. And I do agree that could be the way that this actually ends up, with the ability of success for this. And I wouldn't really be mad at that, because I feel like we do need a series that does kind of bridge the gap fully between general audiences and anime and gaming. There are little pockets of that in certain things like we all like, when it comes to stuff like God of War, solo leveling, and they're just really disparate parts that kind of come together a little bit, but there's no full cohesion. Whereas something like Kingdom Hearts has two things that everybody loves: video game characters and Disney characters. And I'm not
Hmm.
even just talking about the Disney classics of like Goofy, Donald, Mickey, Minnie. We're talking about the Scrooge McDucks, the 101 Dalmatians, Star Wars characters, Marvel characters. It's a pantheon of just everything pop culture, essentially. So
Hmm.
I really do feel like the possibilities are endless. I just hope that if it does wholly be stand on its own as original, it doesn't touch anything too much with the games. So that
Hmm.
way it can continue to go. Because at some point they're gonna have to make a decision in my mind that either we're gonna continue the story alongside the games, or break off to make our own story so the games can tell their story and Sora can be at a certain end or be a mentor or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be interesting to see what direction that they choose to go in with this, because it is easy to mess up. It is very easy to mess up, and if I have learned anything from large studios with business portfolios and public shareholding, is that they will mess it up if it's easy. So we shall see, but fingers crossed.
Well, fingers crossed. Now, voice actor to voice actor, this is one question that I am excited to ask. Like, we're gonna just go with the protagonist, just to kind of start off at baseline.
Mhm.
Who in your mind would be your just one off the cuff pick to voice the protagonist, that if it's not you?
If it's not me, right?
Because I would have picked myself too as an
Mm,
answer. So I gotta be real.
yeah. If the character is young, I think Johnny Young Bach is always a good. He's always a good pick for a younger, spunkier character. If he's older, I would probably go with, yeah, actually Johnny Young Bach for both, because Johnny does a decent older person as well. So that's who I would say. What about
Yeah.
you?
Yeah. For me, off the rip, my number one is Cleo Thomas.
Mhm.
I feel like he does not get enough actual voice work, and his
Mhm.
voice is so distinct. And the more, even past holes, seeing him at DreamCon and different panels and just his content he posts online and the way he speaks and his own love for Kingdom Hearts, he has a voice that is young enough to give excitement and vibrance, but old enough to have that strength and that sternness for those dramatic moments. And with somebody who's already being a fan, he can put forth that level of dedication. Not to say that anybody else wouldn't, but I just feel like there's an opportunity for something really special there. And then as a secondary, honestly, if I could pick anybody, if it's an older person, I would like somebody like Miles Canton, who's a singer but has a rich and soulful voice. When we have characters like Xehanort and whatnot with these very heavy voices, if we're doing somebody who's a little older, and let's say he's not like between 15 and 18, and let's say he's between like 20 to 25, I think
Mhm.
Miles Kenton has a deeper register, but he can still play young. He can still
Mhm.
sound more than just the typical I'm a shopkeeper in the side streets of this anime. Let me have one or two voices of want something to buy here? You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that would be a very different take and surprise people based on what the character designs normally would be. I would think would be close to like the box art usually is.
Mhm.
So that's just my two.
Okay. Yeah, I like both of those. Those are both very strong picks. You know who else I think would be a very good voice for a protagonist? The actor for Zorro in the One Piece live action.
Yes,
I
yes.
don't
I
I
know
don't
exactly
think
who you're
his
talking
voice
about.
is right. I don't think his voice is right for Zorro, but I think he would kill as an anime protagonist.
Yeah, yeah. I think his voice is perfect for something like Kingdom Hearts. And
Perfect.
it is
Like a
his
Riku
Zoro
type.
is kind of weak. Honestly, yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Yeah, like a Riku type character, I think he would kill.
I dig that. If he does
Mhm.
side thing though, outside of voice casting the protagonist, if this character does have compatriots that he has aside from him, like Donald and Goofy from the Disney Pantheon, who's your pick?
Mm. That's a good question, Cap. From the Disney universe, two people to be beside him.
They can't be villains already.
Yeah, can't be villains already. I think if it's before, I think if it's before everything that happens with Sora, I think it would be fitting if his partner was Oswald the Rabbit. I think if Oswald,
Man,
I think if Oswald the Rabbit was his side like partner, and it's just them two, I think that it would be really really fire for that to be the pre-genitor to like Sora and Mickey and Donald and Goofy.
good.
I think that would be cool. And Oswald the Rabbit has that his movie coming out soon, so people will be more in line with figuring out who Oswald was.
Okay. And that's just the only one, or you got a second one that'll be with him, or just be a one him and the actual other one?
So I would probably say, ooh, you know what would probably be dope if it was like Oswald and a young Merlin, a younger Merlin was the people traveling with him.
Oh yeah.
Hmm. I think that would be pretty dope.
That would be cool.
Hmm.
I like that. Okay, so hear me out on mine because I have that. Just walk with me. So I'm thinking if he's going to have a compatriot and we're going to do the two characters aside from him, I want to spin it on his head a little bit because I want him to still kind of stand on his own. I feel like the three character structure is one that even the new game is showing. Like, we're going to change that a little bit by allowing you to play Donald or Goofy or Mickey. Like, so Sora, even if he has people with him, Sora is wholly, he's capable. I
Hmm.
think in the vein of that, we would have our main character and his one of his compatriots is Tinkerbell. And Tinkerbell can also
Hmm.
serve as the magic that you use and the influence of the wonder of the Disney universe. And it's also that extra little voice of compassion and reassurance. And on
Hmm.
the other side of that, for a actual physical tutor, let's say, if it's before
Mm,
the original series or alongside or just wholly on its own, I would want him to have like a mentor. And I just got finished playing 007 First Light and finishing it. And
mm,
one of the characters in there, Greenwood, is
mm,
James's mentor. And in the
mm.
vein of that, honestly, I would have liked one of the Final Fantasy characters to step in to be a, well, no, I said Disney though. I can't even do that. I gotta
Yeah, you
pivot
said
that because I
Disney.
said Disney.
Because
So
if we said
instead,
Final
I
Fantasy,
had to
I
stop
know exactly who I would pick.
because I was gonna say Barrett. I'm not gonna lie to you,
You were gonna say Barrett. I was
but
gonna say Orin.
ooh, see now I wouldn't want to do Barrett because Barrett he gonna yell too much and gonna have monologues.
Come
So
on,
then if
man.
that's the case,
We gotta go save Winnie the Pooh.
man, I'm not gonna lie, that would be the funniest shit for an hour and a half straight.
Hilarious. Did that witch lady just turn into a dragon?
Uh, hey boy, he would be tweaking out there.
Tweaking.
Barrett, it would not be okay with that.
Tweaking.
I'd have just left. I would have left Cloud out there or
Yeah,
Zach, Cloud or
Cloud
Zach.
would be good.
But now that I got to go back to Disney, man, I would say Merlin too. If we're gonna just have
Mm,
Tinkerbell, that. Yeah, that way it's still. I would have Merlin a little bit hands off. I would have him
mm,
younger, but
yeah,
I would have him only there for like giving him direction, so to speak.
yeah, yeah. I think those I can see that. Those are two good picks.
Man, but as we get in here to move on to our last and final topic, though, we had a poll on our promo video, and I asked the audience what did they want from us, and there was a tie between they just wanted to hear us yap and anime hot takes at 38% apiece. But what I'm going to do is give them both. So, anime hot takes. My anime hot take to end our episode is a lot of anime fans are spoiled with what we currently have and don't realize that a lot of anime that's going out right now is mid. Like there is an oversaturation of anime in the overall space, and I love that there are more creative stories and stories that are manga being adapted in different, ways like isekai and shonen and so on and so forth. But like a lot of this stuff is either weird and nonsensical or it's literally mid. It has great fights and is mid. I love Solo Leveling, but I promise you nothing about the storytelling of Solo Leveling is worth investing in. Like
And it doesn't get better either.
it's really just not that good. But people will tell me Dragon Ball ain't nothing but a bunch of niggas screaming and hair color changes. I beg to fucking differ. But that I'm gonna keep it cute. I'm gonna keep it cute.
Well, no, we can get ugly about that a whole nother time because that's a big topic for us to talk about.
Yes.
I so yes, you all are spoiled. There was a time in order for you to watch any type of anime, you had to come home at a certain amount of time, probably around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You had to be
Hmm.
seated and you watched whatever the hell they put in front of you, and that's all you had. If you missed an
Yes.
episode, you missed an episode. If you had a show that you liked and it started at 3, but you didn't get off the bus till 3:20, shit out of luck. You never saw it. You never saw it until the
Ever.
summer came around and you were home to watch it. But then you were confused because you didn't know about the 20,000 episodes that happened before it. And now you're watching the tail end of the series. There, there used to be, we watched some type of Gundam. There was always a Gundam. You watched some type of Gundam, Dragon Ball Z, Yu Yu Hakusho, Inuyasha, and then there'd be like one like
Sailor
obscure
Moon,
one, Sailor Moon, and then there'd be an obscure one like S Cryad or Trigun
Tenchi
or
Muyo.
Tenchi Muyo, which I loved. That's my shit. I love me some Tenchi Muyo. That would just be thrown in, and that's it. You have 20 to 30 anime a season now. A season. That means every 3 to 4 months, you get another 20 to 30 animes dropping.
Yeah.
And it could be anywhere from Bleach to I got reincarnated as a gas station condom, and no, it could and everywhere in between. and it's just anime for the sake of anime now. It's just throwing stuff out and hitting the wall, and hopefully something hits some niche back, way in the back section of people that might actually watch it. There's an anime about cat girls smoking cigarettes, doing drugs, and shitting,
Oh
and
hell
that's
no,
on Netflix.
that
You
makes
see what I'm
sense.
saying? There's there's such a thing as too much, and I feel like we've hit too much.
Absolutely. I think we have in every sense of the word. But the bad
Hmm.
part is we can't go back because if we go
We can't go
back,
back.
it's going to get worse. It's going to get
Yeah.
worse. Like, because the underabundance of it is going to cause it to damn near become niche again, like
Uh
completely
huh.
niche. And I don't see that happening. I don't want that to happen, but that's kind of something to be aware of and kind of worried about.
Hmm.
But I do hope at some point we get a bit of a balance. But with the way things are, just with media as a whole and how it's being either not physically distributed or properly respected and put out to consumers, I don't see that happening, man.
Yeah, I don't see it happening either. We have so many different streaming sites just to watch anime on. We have Crunchyroll, which has its own set of anime. Funimation, which has its own set of anime. There's one that I just discovered. I think it's called like Mermaid or something like that. Or
R.I.P.
Mer. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That one has its own set of animes on it. Hi-fi anime. You have the HBO Max gets its own animes. Netflix gets their own
yeah,
animes. Disney Plus gets its own animes. There's no way that we're going backwards because everybody wants a piece of the anime pie, and to do that, there has to be more anime.
yeah,
So
yep, absolutely.
we are in the a cloudy with a chance of meatballs ass situation with anime. We wanted more of it. We wanted it to be more popular. Now that it's gotten that way, we get whatever the fuck falls out of the sky, and
Yeah,
sometimes it's great. Sometimes you get your Hell's Paradises, your Mob Psycho 100s, your Scissor Sevens. You get those gems in there, the Killer Kills. But sometimes you get a show that is actually called I that time I got reincarnated as a vending machine, and that's a real fucking show. That is real. That is in the world. That was created. So you know
first of all, why you want people to put quarters in you is crazy to me.
they moan each time they put it in a quarter.
Freaky ass nigga. Oh my
You know what I'm
god.
trying to say?
Boy, there's
Yandere
easier
kudasai.
ways to get used. Listen, I ain't trying to yuck nobody up, but like clean yourself up, man. I I think one last hot take I got, and I've been standing firm on this, and I know people might be against it and I've heard pushback on this, but of all the animes that deserve a remake, it is not One Piece. It is Yu Yu Hakusho. Yu Yu Hakusho deserves a full remake. I don't care that the original still holds up. I don't care that we all still have a nostalgic fervor for it. One Piece does not need to be, well, there is merit for it because of how much One Piece is like had going on, but that would make sense if One Piece was done. One Piece is still going on, and you're remaking One Piece while One Piece is on. So like, that doesn't make sense. Yu Yu Hakusho, it's been 30 plus years, at least. Y'all gave us this half-ass chicken cutlass ass live action, which I'm gonna have a conniption. Listen, a live action Yu Yu Hakusho was not the plan. If Netflix wanted to really capture the bag, the same amount of attention and love that you put in something like Blue Eye Samurai, you could have done with Yu Yu Hakusho. Could you have imagined the art style of Blue Eyed Samurai with Yu Yu Hakusho in a new interpretation of the storylines? You don't have to completely reinvent the wheel. The story is damn near perfect. You don't even have to reconfigure the story that much. You can give us a stronger premise to get us to know Yusuke rather than the very small moment of kindness that he's shown. Give me 5 extra minutes to show how much of a dick he was before all of this and why we should care. Show me why his mom is the way she is sooner rather than me finding out over time. Give me reason to understand why they were looking for somebody like Yusuke to begin with. Like, And the fights, the legendary. Could you imagine a proper interpretation and remake of the Dark Tournament? But you telling me One Piece deserved this and this nigga still on the boat looking for a One Piece? Man, y'all really chapping my bald ass, and I don't like it.
No notes. I concur. I agree 100%. You guys are wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. One Piece remaking something while it's still going is insanity. It's insanity. You could have gave us a remake to One Piece in like 10 years. I believe that two animes with my whole heart deserve to be remade, and that's Yu Yu Hakusho and Berserk. I feel like those are the two that
Ooh,
really believe they need updates with today's. Could you imagine if Studio Mappa had Yu Yu Hakusho? Could you imagine actually not even Mappa, Trigger. If Studio Trigger had Yu Yu Hakusho and
man.
Mappa or Ufotable had Berserk. What are we doing? What are we doing? The color style and the vibrance of Trigger brought to Yu Yu Hakusho with their fight scenes and the choreography, and then the grittiness and the darkness that you can really get out of Mappa or Ufotable for Berserk. Do y'all not like money? Or are you afraid to do
Nah, they
that
don't.
because you
They
already
don't
have
make. They invest in
something?
the Robux.
Yeah, are you afraid to do that because you already have something that you know makes money? So you just want to keep delving into that pot until it stops making you money. And I love One Piece, mind you. I love One Piece, but it's bullshit. It's fucking stupid. And you're fucking stupid.
It is.
I hate you.
Hey, man, they gotta tighten up. But before we go over our time, man, listen, this has been our first episode. It has been an amazing experience. Look out for us. We will be doing this, I believe, weekly. We're trying to get our structure together. Be patient with us. We got a lot of pots in the kitchen getting, cooked on. We got an Osmosis Jones dub coming. We got the podcast. We got our individual projects. Speaking of which, my man Sean Denam, tell the people where they can find you at.
You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Sean the Don, the same way that it's here on the screen. If you wanted to follow me on X, it is Sean Tomp VA. And I also have another TikTok that is Sean Senpai 3. You can find me at all those different places. Not Facebook. Facebook is for my friends. I don't know you.
Don't be weird, y'all. Don't be
don't
weird.
don't
And
don't be
I
weird.
am Cap. You can find me on Instagram at they call me underscore cap. That's KAP. You can find me on TikTok under Urban Nobility. Urban underscore nobility and well, not TikTok but X, and on TikTok I'm Captain Kirk VO. Listen, this has been a great experience. We're gonna run this back. We got a new episode of Lanterns tomorrow. Catch y'all on the next one.